toilet roll tube. How boring is that? But you'll never guess what I did with this toilet roll tube. Anyway, no time to chat. Let's get on with crafting. For this Christmas craft project, I'm going to use a toilet roll inner. Now, when I was little, the only thing we could think to do with a toilet roll inner was make a Christmas cracker. But you can make something far more exciting just using one of these. So I'm going to get my ruler and do some markings on this. I'm going to mark at 1 inch, then at 3 inches. Down at the 1 inch mark, I want to measure 1.5 inches. So put that dot at 3/4 of an inch and draw a line like that over to 1.5 inches, so you know it's central. And then join up from the top into like an arch shape. Now you need to cut it out. If you gently fold there and snip, you'll be able to get your scissors in then. Out with my little scissors for the top, because it's very fiddly. I've got this piece of rather stiff mesh. Now you can use tracing paper if you don't want to use this, or you can use something colourful and warm. This is going to have a light showing through it, so it just hides the top of a candle bulb. Pop it in, and then a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place. You won't need much at all. Nobody's going to swing on it. So now to cover this with some twine, with using hot glue. You can see there are some marks on my toilet roll tube, but I did try going with double-sided tape to see if that would be faster, and it really didn't stick very well at all, so I decided against. Gone back to hot glue. I was hoping for a really quick cheat for you all, so I could show you, and that way then you wouldn't have to do this if you're not a fan of it, but sorry, it didn't work. I'm not cutting this into individual strips. It's much faster to just keep using the same piece of twine, and then we'll trim the ends off when we're finished. I've got some craft things I love doing and some craft things I hate doing. What things do you love and what things do you hate? One of my favourite things to do is cover things with twine. But I do understand people who find it very frustrating and slow. It's easier to cover a bottle with twine than a piece of toilet roll tube like this, because with a bottle you can go round and round and you don't need to glue it very often. This does need a lot of glue. If you want to speed this up, you can use a thicker twine. I love the look on this with the thinner twine, so I'm not tempted, but again, once you've seen this finished, you may think, I think I'd be happy with thicker twine, so just see what you fancy. Always make sure when you're doing your craft, you do exactly the sort of thing you want to do and the sort of thing you enjoy. While I'm doing this, I can take the opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody who comments on my crafts, and it's wonderful that some of you have been inspired to take up crafting again or to start crafting for the first time. And I love hearing what you've made, and if you want to send me a picture of anything you've made, then I do have an email address. It is myartjourney@aol.com, and you can send me your pictures of whatever you've made there, and I can have a look and enjoy seeing them. When you get to the opening part with the gauze on, you haven't got to go all the way to the bottom now. Save yourself some twine. And now we need to cut off all these ends. I've got some braided twine here, so I'm going to put this around the opening, and that will look a lot neater. Look at that already. What an improvement. Snip the ends. And a little tiny blob of hot glue so that these braids don't start undoing. As usual with anything I make, it's absolutely covered in hot glue. Look at that, it's everywhere. Right, next thing we need to do is get our twine and do some easy winding now. rather than up and down, we're just going to go round and round and cover this from the bottom opening. Whoops, look at that. Now to cover round and around with some more twine. Instead of up and down, round and round. Now cut off a length of really thick twine. This is going to go where the two twines join, just like that. And now you've got that. Now cut yourself a 3.5 inch diameter circle out of a very thick craft paper or a thin card. You need something that will hold together but won't crease when you fold it or roll it. And then I'm going to find where the centre is, which is fold it that way, pinch, fold it that way. There's my centre. And then I'm going to turn it into a cone. Checking the size that I need it to be, which is about that size. So out with plenty of hot glue, which is rather hot, so pop your finger protectors on and then just trim the edge if it needs it. Needs a bit of trimming there. Now a run of glue all the way around the top of your toilet roll, like that, and then pop that into place. Try to put the join at the back, but it doesn't matter because you won't see it. And also check it's level. Mine's a bit wonky. About there. Yep, that'll be fine. Next thing, find yourself a pine cone. And I'm using this old pliers. You can use garden shears. Not garden shears, is it? A garden pruner. Shears would be rather large. Or scissors if you've got one. And then clip off, like that, all these little bits of a pine cone. When you get to the bottom, they're too tight together, so you may well need quite a few pine cones to do this. Now using the larger ones, you're going to glue a row all around the end of, as you can see now, this roof. And have them sticking off a little bit. Hide any unevenness in your roof. As you can see, you get through tons of these, so I'm now going to cut a few more, and then we're just going to go around a few more times until we get almost to the top. Before you get to the top, make a dent in your roof and then pop in a little chimney made out of a piece of old twig. And then carry on with another layer of pine cone bits. When you put these ones on, just trim the top as straight as you can, like that. That's not very straight, is it? But you know what I mean. And it just sits nicer around the chimney. Don't forget, don't throw these away at the end. There's going to be a little bonus idea to use up half-cut pine cones. Now get yourself a little thin piece of twig and cut yourself two 2-inch sections. Then cut yourself an 1.25-inch section. take your little 1.25" section, put those 2 long ones there at an angle, and your little 1.25" one, you want this going across the bottom there. Like that, and before it sets, just angle the top of those in to where you want them to be, like that. Now measure the middle and cut a piece that will fit across and glue it in place. And then a little piece almost at the top, cut to the right size, 2 blobs of glue, and glue that in place. And now you've got yourself a little ladder. Pop the little ladder onto your desk so you can see where you need to glue it, and then some hot glue and glue that into place. Now to add some reindeer moss. This is really going to make this look like a woodland fairy house. And this is brilliant for covering all those bits that didn't work out too well on your roof or your walls. If you've got anything you want to hide, now is the time to hide it. I'm going to put some over the door, coming from up there. And I'm going to put some around this little ridge here, which I think looks really cute and sweet. I think we need to add some red berries too, so I'm going to snip some off this pick. Whoops, that one just fell off. Now I don't want to go too overboard with the berries, but you can put them all along the top if you wanted to. You can do anything you like with this. The only limit is your imagination and your supplies. Now this could be used for decor at any time of the year, but I'm making Christmas decorations, so let's get some puffy paint on this. I've made my own homemade puffy paint. I'm trying this recipe, which is 50% shaving foam, 50% PVA glue. And I can tell you now, it doesn't work. So I'm using so I have a fix for this when I finish. And now you can see my puffy paint is just running everywhere, really bubbly. I'm not happy with it at all. So I'm going to add some glitter. And I think that has done a wonderful job. A little bit more there, it's a bit dry. And I think for a Christmas winter wonderland, that's going to look wonderful. So now I turn my candle on, a little electric tea light, pop it into the bottom, and look at that. Oh, I absolutely love that. It's come out much nicer than I thought when we had a little bit of an issue with the puffy paint, but it looks wonderful now. So I'm going to let this dry and see what it looks like up on my display. And now for that bonus tip. I've got all these pine cones that I've taken the little things off. I still can't remember what they're called. Using a garden pruners, I'm going to snip the top sticky out bit off. So you've got this fluffy bit in the middle. And do the same to all of them. Paint them all white. But not the centre bit. It doesn't matter if you accidentally go over the centre bit, because we're going to be painting that a different colour. Try to blodge in the paint, but don't worry if you don't get right the way in. If anything, it'll show off the three-dimensional look. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. the rustic look that these are getting, it's going to go on something that it suits. But if you want these completely covered, then spray painting will probably be a quicker and more thorough idea. Right, I think I better go wash my hands. Before these dry, I'm going to use some of this PBO Studio Acrylics High Viscosity Opaque Yellow. Opaque Primary Yellow, it says on there, number 48. I put my glove on because I don't want to get paint all over my hand again. I'm just going to paint the centre with some yellow. Now you can either be extremely accurate here, or you can just give it a bludge. Mine will just be getting a bludge, I think. Because if you look at the stamens in the centre of a flower, they're very really, well, they can be quite uniform, but some are not, so mine are not uniform ones. I'll switch to a smaller brush. I think it's going to be a lot easier to control. Oh yes. Set those aside to dry. Now it's good to have something to use those little pretty pine cone flowers on, so I'm going to make something really quick. I'm using this basic wreath form, but you can just cut yourself out a circle of cardboard and use that if you want to. I'm going to cut a few strips. Oh, I love ripping fabric. And cover your wreath form with the fabric. Make a hanger out of a piece of fabric. Glue it to the back. And now to decorate. I've got myself an assortment of bits and pieces that I'm going to add to my painted pine cones on this ring. Now I haven't let these dry properly, they're a bit wet. It's best to let them dry, otherwise you're going to get covered in paint. Right, see how I get on.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh.
What a lovely bonus craft just from using up the pine cones that you've already chopped and didn't look very nice, and now they look interesting. So let's see what this looks like up on my display.
Falling down and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake. And
If you've enjoyed this video, I thoroughly enjoyed making it, then please give me a thumbs up, that would be great. And why not subscribe, because I've got lots more ideas and there are going to be lots more videos coming out right throughout the year. I'll see you all next time, but until then, don't forget, have fun. Bye.
jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are